Hi, my name is Mike Ward. I'm the Global Director of Content at the Pharma Insights products. We're here at the Biotech Showcase here in San Francisco, and it's a pretty buzzy meeting. I've been joined today by Tim Miller, who's the President and CEO of Abeona Therapeutics. Thanks for joining us, Tim.
Oh, thanks for having us, Mike.
So, Abeona, you guys are in the gene therapy space. So the first thing, I've been covering this industry for a long time. 2.5 decades ago, or 2 decades ago, gene therapy was a really hot place, and then it kind of died to death. What's different this time?
Well, it's been an amazing couple of years to watch gene therapy grow. There's been some challenges in the investment communities, but the science continued to grow. And now, with this next generations of adeno-associated or AAV viruses being able to deliver very specifically as a delivery vehicle, these are ways that we can target very specific diseases. So that's one of the things that I think is different.
Right.
Targeting.
So now, and with that sort of targeting technology, is that come from somewhere specifically? I mean,
well, there are a number of groups, a number of wonderful academic centers around the country. We've been working with Nationwide Children's Hospital in Columbus, Ohio, University of Minnesota, and University of Nebraska, for example, are some great centers where these types of gene therapies have come out of.
Right. Okay. And that process, the sort of the tech transfer, when has that taken place, and so when was the company created?
Yeah, Abeona was a small private company. It was founded in 2013, and then we actually went public with an acquisition this past year. So we're traded right now on the NASDAQ exchange.
Right. So you reversed into
a public company. Yep.
Right. Okay. And which company was that?
Originally it was Plasmatech Biopharmaceuticals, but we've rebranded in the company's Abeona Therapeutics Incorporated.
Right. Okay. So the technology you've got, where does it stand at the moment?
So we actually put out a press release this morning, actually, that we received some initial regulatory approvals in the European Union for our trials in Spain. We're continuing our regulatory process, and we finished all of our proof of concept data and ready to start clinical trials very soon.
So, and which therapeutic areas are you actually going to look at?
We're working on Sanfilippo syndromes, A and B, and juvenile Batten disease. These are rare lysosomal storage disorders, and we're treating these using an intravenous delivery of an AAV. All right, so the reason is to target the whole body of the disease. 70% of these kids don't reach the age 18, and in our proof of concept studies, we've been able to completely normalize the survival, neuromuscular function, and cognitive impairments. Right,
and are you doing this on your own, or with support with other people?
We're doing it through, and again, part of the original company was funded by over a dozen international foundations with a mandate to find and fund the best and most promising therapies for their kids.
So it's in sort of for what, Sanfilippo?
Yeah, so this is Stop Sanfilippo in Spain, the National MPS Society, Team Sanfilippo. There have been a number of Sanfilippo and MPS societies around the country and around the world that have come in and helped fund and move these programs forward. It's a great success story.
Right. Okay. So it's a rare disease. Okay. We've seen some rare disease companies. People like Alexion or whatever, who've actually managed to go from concept right the way into the market and done so successfully. What's your commercial vision for Abeona?
So we started very early with an approach that rather than do a traditional, start in the United States, we decided to go global very early. And so we're starting trials in the United States, Spain, and Australia in 2016.
Right, okay. And do you sort of anticipate, though, that you will actually, build a commercial infrastructure?
Oh yeah, so we've expanded our footprint. We just built out the facility in Cleveland, Ohio, and that will also have some manufacturing capacity.
Right. So the funding of these trials, you sort of said that you've got sort of support of these patient advocacy groups. Are they actually also, funding those trials, or have you got money from elsewhere?
Yeah, so great question. So they actually came in and helped fund the private company, and then became shareholders in the public company, and they're still our partners and have helped us move along for also specific projects that are important to the foundations that are in that rare disease space that those diseases that they're interested in.
Right, and the sort of the reverse into the public company. Did you raise any money at that time?
So we've raised over $60 million in the past 8 or 9 months, to help fund this.
Okay, and how much runway is that going to give you?
That'll get us to multiple value inflection points over the next 2 years.
Right. Okay. And as we're sort of looking forward, so you've just had this. Say you've got some news from the European Union in terms of allowing you to go into phase 1 trials.
So we've gone through the GMO and ethical committee submissions, en route to starting the clinical trials. And so that's for both of our MPS IIIA and IIIB programs.
So beyond that then, what are the next, milestones?
Continuing to go through the regulatory process, both here in the United States and overseas. Right. We finished all of our preclinical work and are ready to go and finish up some drug manufacturing and get started.
Yeah, and the technology that you have, I mean, you've identified some diseases so far, but with a lot of sort of gene therapies, it's almost like a vehicle that you could actually put a different kind of payload. So, going forward beyond what you have now, what other sort of areas might you look at?
Yeah, so great. So it's we actually have another. We're using AAV to target these lysosomal storage diseases, but we're also using the CRISPR program, which has of course received a lot of interest in the gene therapy community, and we're looking at that and we have licensed that from the University of Minnesota to treat blood disorders. So with the ability to look at over 200 different blood disorders using a gene editing technology.
Right.
That's next in our pipeline.
Yeah, and the approach there is it again sort of going to sort of patient advocacy groups or?
Yeah, so we've worked with some of the patient advocacy groups. We've again that's working with a lot of the foundations and the institutions to help move that along. Our initial target is a disease called Fanconi anemia, which is a devastating blood disorder.
And a meeting like this, it's running alongside JP Morgan. It's all about partnering. It's all about sort of the interactions with the big biotechs, the farmers with biotechs. What are your expectations from this event?
Well, right now going on is one of the state of the industry addresses for the Alliance for Regenerative Medicine, and you're hearing such wonderful things to expect in 2016 from the gene therapy sector. And really, 2016 I think is going to be the year of gene therapy. As over a dozen companies come in with phase 1 and phase 2 clinical results.
Great. Okay, Tim. Well, thanks for sharing the news. Cheers.
Pleasure.
Bye bye.